Welcome back. It's me, Dr. SAP, and today we're embarking on an exciting journey into the purchase-to-pay process. This process is at the heart of how businesses acquire the materials and services they need to operate efficiently. Before we dive into creating a purchase order, let's take a step back to understand where it all begins. The process often starts with a purchase requisition. Think of this as an internal document or request created by a department that needs to acquire materials or services. These requisitions can be generated manually by employees or automatically by the system based on predefined rules, such as low stock levels or upcoming production needs. They serve as the foundation for initiating procurement. Once the requisition is finalized, it's time to create the purchase order. The purchase order, or PO, is the formal document sent to the supplier, specifying what is being ordered, in what quantity, and under which terms. It acts as the official agreement between the company and the supplier to provide the requested items or services. Depending on the company's policies, purchase orders may require approval, particularly for high-value items or special procurement scenarios. This approval step ensures compliance and aligns with organizational controls. In our scenario today, we will focus on creating a purchase order for 2 raw materials that will be used later in the production process. These items will be added to our inventory and prepared for future use in manufacturing. We'll guide you through adding the items, defining the required quantities, and completing the purchase order process. By the end of this exercise, you'll not only have a solid grasp of how to create a purchase order, but also see how this step connects with subsequent processes, such as goods receipt and invoice management. These steps complete the cycle and ensure the materials are ready for use in production, and the supplier is paid for their services. Let's begin creating the purchase order and start bringing the materials into the business. Together, we'll explore how SAP streamlines this essential procurement step to ensure efficiency and accuracy at every stage.
Welcome to the SAP Purchase Order Demo. In this session, I'll guide you step by step through the process of creating a purchase order using the advanced configuration available in SAP Fiori. Remember, this is a demonstration, so you don't need to perform these actions yourself. Just watch closely as I walk you through each screen and explain the steps involved. Let's dive in. We're starting at the SAP Fiori Launchpad. Here, you'll notice several key tiles available under the Purchase-to-Pay Processing section. To begin, let's select the Create Purchase Order Advanced tile. This will lead us directly to the creation screen where we can configure detailed purchase order settings. Now that we're on the Create Purchase Order screen, our first step is to enter the supplier information. In the supplier field, we'll type vendor 001, which represents our vendor. By selecting this vendor, the system will automatically load the master data linked to the supplier, including terms, addresses, and any relevant conditions we've seen before during the master data overview. This ensures that our purchase order is pre-filled with the correct details, saving us time and reducing manual input. Let's take a closer look at the Org Data tab before we move on. Here, we can see the following key organizational details. Purchasing Organization. This unit is responsible for handling supplier negotiations and managing purchasing terms across the company. Purchasing Group. This represents the team or individual responsible for processing the purchase order. Company Code. This is the legal entity in the organization that owns the financial records. Every purchase order must be linked to a specific company code to ensure correct financial posting. These fields are automatically filled based on the user master data, making sure the structure remains consistent and accurate. Now, let's switch to the Delivery/Invoice tab. This section focuses on important details related to delivery and payments. You'll notice the Payment Terms field, which in this case shows 0001. This defines how and when the supplier will be paid, for example, net payment within a specific number of days after delivery or receipt of the invoice. Having these terms predefined ensures smooth transactions and helps maintain strong supplier relationships. Next, we'll navigate briefly to the Address tab. Here you'll see the supplier's address details, such as the street, city, and country. These are also populated automatically based on the supplier's master data. It's a quick way to verify that we're sending the order to the correct location. With that done, let's return to the Org Data tab to confirm that everything is correct before moving on to the next step. Once we've completed the header information, the next step is to add the items to our purchase order. We begin by typing RAW001 in the material field. This is the code that identifies the item we're purchasing. Next, in the PO quantity field, we enter 100 to indicate the number of units. Now, observe how the system automatically updates additional details based on the master data. Unit of measure, set to PC, meaning pieces. Delivery date, automatically filled as January 24, 2025, indicating the expected arrival date. Net price, displays €10 per unit, as defined in the supplier agreement. Material group, listed as raw materials, showing the procurement category for this item. To review more details, we open the item details. Material data. In this tab, we can confirm that the material group is displayed as L002, categorizing the material correctly. Other fields, like supplier material number and batch, remain blank, as they are optional and can be used if needed. Quantities and weights. This section provides insights into the ordered quantity and associated weights. PO quantity, 100 pieces. Net weight, 1 kilogram per piece. Gross weight, 1.1 kilograms, accounting for packaging. Delivery schedule. Here, the delivery date is confirmed as January 24, 2025, with all 100 units scheduled to arrive on that date. Conditions. In the Conditions tab, we review the pricing details. Net price, €10 per unit. Total amount, €1,000, calculated by multiplying the 100 units by €10 each. Since there are no surcharges or discounts, the net amount matches the total amount. By navigating through these tabs, we verify that all the relevant information has been filled in accurately based on the master data. With the first item RAW001 reviewed and confirmed, we're ready to add the second item, RAW002. Now that we've successfully added the first item, we'll proceed by adding the second raw material. In the material field, we type RAW002, the code representing the second item to be purchased. Then, in the PO quantity field, we enter 100 units. Once we fill in these fields, the system updates the following details automatically based on the master data. Net price, €20 per unit. Unit of measure, PC, indicating pieces. Delivery date, January 24, 2025, showing the expected arrival date. Material group, raw materials, classifying the item within the procurement categories. We've now added the second item, and the system reflects the relevant information for it. In the next step, we'll review the summary view to ensure all values match our expectations. Now that we're ready to verify the total value, let's walk through this step together. We start by opening the header information. In this section, we have access to the general overview of the purchase order details. It's like our summary page for everything. Next, we navigate to the Conditions tab. Here, the system displays the total purchase value. Although the system shows the total as €3,000, we can conclude that this amount includes €1,000 for the first item and €2,000 for the second item based on the item details. After confirming that all values are accurate and match the expected amounts, we can move forward. By selecting the Save button, we finalize the purchase order and ensure that all data is securely registered in the system. Well done. The purchase order is now saved and ready for the next steps in the process. Returning to the main dashboard. We proceed by selecting the Manage Purchase Orders app. This app is essential for reviewing and managing purchase orders efficiently. When the app opens, the system immediately displays the most recent purchase order at the top of the list. Our latest purchase order is already visible, showing the relevant details. There's no need to perform a search this time. However, if needed, we could use filters such as supplier, company code, or purchasing group to narrow down the list and quickly find specific orders. Let's take a closer look at the key details. Net order value, €3,000 status, in approval. The in approval status is important because it highlights that this purchase order is undergoing validation. This step ensures that all purchase orders comply with internal approval policies, such as budget verification or managerial authorization, before being finalized. Next, we open the purchase order to review additional details. On the General Information tab, we can see important information like the supplier, company code, and purchasing group. Moving over to the Items tab, we can review the breakdown of each item. Item 10, 100 units of raw 001 at €10 each, totaling €1,000. Item 20, 100 units of raw 002 at €20 each, totaling €2,000. Everything appears to be accurate. When we check the Output Management tab, we notice that no output has been scheduled yet. This indicates that the system is awaiting the approval process to be completed before generating any output, such as a printout or email to the supplier. With this review complete, we've confirmed that the purchase order is accurate and pending approval for the next steps in the procurement process.
Hello again, it's Dr. SAP here to help us wrap up our purchase order creation process with a quick review. Once a purchase order PO is created, it often undergoes additional steps before being finalized. First, many organizations have an approval process in place, where the PO needs to be reviewed and authorized by relevant stakeholders to ensure compliance with budget and procurement policies. After approval, the PO can proceed to output management, where it's prepared to be sent to the supplier. This could be done electronically or as a physical document, depending on the organization's settings. It's also worth mentioning that the goal of this training session is to provide an overall view of SAP processes, rather than a deep dive into specific tasks like purchase order management. We'll conclude here, and in the next module, we'll explore goods receipt. I hope you'll continue this journey with us to learn more about SAP. See you then.